Welcome to the Bloom Where You're Planted podcast from Never Too Late Cafe. I'm your host, Laura Womack. Each week we sit down for a chat with someone just like you, someone who had an idea, a passion, a dream, or sometimes just a thought, and planted that seed, watched it grow into something they wanted to share with the world. If you have an idea for a topic or someone that would be a guest for the Bloom Where You're Planted podcast, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook, where you can join our Never Too Late Cafe Facebook group. We'd love to hear from you. Welcome back to part 2 with Edwin Martell. This podcast is called the Bloom Where You're Planted podcast. And I ask everyone what that means to them, what that quote means.
So what does that mean? So I've been giving it a lot of thought actually since you sent it to me, and I'll clearly, to me, it says, like, I feel like I embody that statement, because I'm not from here, but here I am trying to make the best of what I have to work with here in Portsmouth. And so, I feel like I've been able to grow a lot, not just as an individual, but also as a creative. And my family's been able to grow a lot here, and we've been able to make this place our home. And so, like, to me, Bloom Where You're Planted is exactly that, like growing and shining and showing people your how beautiful you are as an individual, right here, because this is where we live.
That also brings me to something that when you mentioned, blooming here, you were given an award about Community Spirit Award. And
yes, I was.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Yes, I can. And I'm going to, before I do, I'm going to apologize if I get a little emotional about it. Because
no worries. Honestly, no worries, because I know that the topic.
Yeah. So my brother-in-law, Jeremy Burnside, who was above and beyond what Bloom Where You're Planted statement is. He was just the type of individual who, like, embodied Portsmouth. He was Mr. Portsmouth, and unfortunately, he's no longer with us. And so the Chamber of Commerce created this award in his honor, for people who embody Portsmouth. And I was very, very honored to be given. I was very honored to be given that award, considering that he it was in his honor, and it just tells me that, like, I'm doing the right things, because the things that he's been able to do for this city is above and beyond anything that I'll be able to ever do. And so I just want to, I always want to try to live in those types of footsteps, because I saw firsthand what one individual was able to do, and so, like, I kind of throw myself into just about anything and everything that I can to be able to keep that going, and not let that momentum kind of die out. I don't. I'll never be able to match his energy. No one can. Um, but what I can do um, is do what I do and be who I am, but also kind of follow his footsteps. And winning that award um, just tells me, and it kind of reiterates that I'm headed down the right path, and I'm doing the things that he would want me to do, and he would do himself. So it's such an honor to win the award alone. Um,
He was an amazing man. I can say that. I never got to personally meet him, but I was at several events that he was at, and he had the biggest smile, and you knew that he just loved building up the city. And I'd have to say that you don't have to match what he did, because you're doing amazing work. I can tell you that. So,
thank you. I appreciate that.
so then, were there other influences besides Jeremy to have you want to do so much in the arts and the promotion and the development?
A lot of the influence that he was a big part of that, of the influence. The other, so my wife, she's out there with me, and she does a lot of things. But one year she got to go to Honduras for work, and it was like a mission trip. She works in a dental field, and so she was able to kind of make a huge impact on a lot of children who don't get the type of care for their teeth. Something so basic, so simple for us, right? And that actually like really impacted her in a way that when she came back home, she said, I understand why you do this now. And I think that, that is exactly why I do it, is because once you see and feel the actual impact that you have on the community, on individuals, in whatever it is that you're doing, it like changes you. You like, it makes you feel like complete. Like it makes you feel like you've done, like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so I don't want that feeling to ever stop. You know what I mean? I just want to keep going, and I just want to keep trying to impact people's lives in a positive way, in whatever way that I can, whether it's using my connections or my networks, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's volunteering, whether it's talking, whether it's my photography, whatever way that I can to impact someone's life in a positive way. Like I can't help it. It's just, I'm just a giving and serving person. And, I actually, I talked about this the other day about the word servant. And, we kind of associate servant as kind of a bad word, because you think like, oh, you think of slavery, you can think of like a butler, who wants to do that kind of work? Who wants to do that? Who wants to serve people? And what I think what gets lost in translation is that the word servant isn't just, that aspect of things. And so serving people, it can be positive. And so I serve my community. I serve people, because I'm a servant. I want to be able to bring food to someone who doesn't have food. I want to be able to, talk to somebody that needs someone to talk to. And so, I don't know. It's such it's hard to like really explain what that kind of work does to yourself as far as like as an individual. Because you have to like kind of just go out and just do it. And once you do, and you see the impact and you feel it, like it becomes like, it's almost like addicting, honestly. Like, I feel like I always want to feel good that I've done something good in this world. I don't want to die one day and people look at me and think, what a waste. I want people to know that, I was out and I was doing the best that I can do for not just myself, not just my family, but others as well.
Those are wonderful words, Edwin. So what words of wisdom would you give to someone that wants to do what you're doing or have done?
Don't stop. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of sacrifices. I've been blessed with a family that is very, what's the word that I'm looking for? They are very patient and loving, and they really they allow me to be able to do the things that I do out in the community, and they make a lot of sacrifice. I think that's the best word to use. Is my family sacrifices a lot of time with me to be able to go out there and serve others, and that kind of unselfishness from my family alone is more than what I could ever ask for. And so, I've been blessed with a family that's very understanding of, like, Edwin's going to be out there. He's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing this, he's doing that. And so, what words of advice that I have, know that there are limitations to anything, but work hard. A lot of people don't even know where to begin when it comes to like, what do I do? I don't even know what to do. And, I get that question a lot as far as like, what should I do? Find a need and then start there. There's lots and lots of needs.
Absolutely.
And so, where do I begin? Like I said, find a need and start there, and don't give up. It's going to be tough. You're going to hear no's. People aren't going to be, it's going to be a lot of hard work, especially if you're like writing grants and, you don't get this grant, you don't get that grant, and funding can always like deter you away from doing the right thing. We all know what's right and what's wrong. And so it's living by what's right. It seems like it's basic, like the most common sense thing. I wear a shirt all the time that says "Do the right thing," and that's all it is. That's really, to me, that's all it is. It's just doing what's right. If there's a need for someone, fill that need. And just keep working at it, and don't stop. And then once you fulfill that need, you're the rewards, the reward that you feel in your heart overcomes everything, and then it becomes easier to continue to do because you've felt it. You know what it feels like to serve people, and so yeah, just don't give up, man. I know that society and this world seems like it's falling apart, and there's trash everywhere, and there's like almost seems like it's endless, and there's no hope. None of that. That's all false. If we allow that type of mentality to continue in us, then yes, then if you feel like there's no hope, then you continue to have that narrative playing in your head, then there's never going to be hope. But if you can find it in yourself to change that narrative, and see the good, it's not just seeing the good, it's about being the good too. And so, that's kind of what I live by. And I had someone that I would look at, and be like, would Jeremy do this? What would Jeremy do? And some of us don't have that, as far as like someone to look to for that. But
well,
really,
I think that you have created in several avenues that person. So I do believe that, because you've done several of your activities, and your volunteer work has done to create that for some people. So what's next for you? Or is there a long list?
Yeah, there's always a list. What's next for me? Well, I'm actually right now currently co-director of Trillium Project, which is another nonprofit organization that is focused on public art and utilizing local artists to find and bridge that networking between community, local artists, and public art, and try to tie all of that together. And so we as an organization have a large group of local artists already, and we have projects coming up that we're going to be fulfilling different murals. We have street art. We've got all kinds of things in cooking right now, and it's very that is definitely, this is like going to be very huge here in Portsmouth, and we've already been able to fund and get local artists work, which is like, we're an organization that is like geared towards providing for local artists. And so, we have, like I said, quite a few murals that will be kind of coming up, and we have a bunch of artists that are going to get paid for putting their art up, and that's a great thing to have, here in Portsmouth, in any city. And
Right.
so, like, you know, if arts is your thing and you want to see arts within your city or community, you know, form a group, and start finding local artists, because, you know, they struggle just as much as anybody else does. And you know, artists can be very what's the word that I'm looking for? Introverts. They don't like to get out much. Some of them do, you know, some of them don't. And so, like, you know, sometimes it's very hard for artists to kind of network with people, because that's not their thing. And so, us as an organization, like, we embody trying to network and bridge, like I said, bridge that gap. We also have, like, senior artists who have done giant murals, and then we have artists who have never done a mural before in their life. And so it's so great to have an organization that can get these mural artists with these artists that have never done it before, and put them in one room together, and then get them a mural to where, you know, the senior artist can provide like teaching to younger artists. And so, you know, that's very rewarding to see artists helping artists. And so, like, that's what we're building here with the Trillium Project. And at the same time, we're going to have tons of public art, which is also very awesome.
That is. So I want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing all the many things that you're into. And I'm sure that we will keep in touch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because it seems like much is always happening with you. So
it is.
So this is the Bloom Where You're Planted podcast. Again, sponsored by Never Too Late Cafe, and I'm Laura Womack, your host. And I want to thank Edwin so much for being a guest, and I'm saying bye for now.
Thank you very much, Laura. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So as our time comes to a close, remember to keep creating, keep sharing, and keep supporting each other. And remember to bloom where you're planted. Bye for now.